Welcome, y'all. This week, we complete our journey through the Underland by discovering how to shelter what is most precious, the quiet wisdom uncovered in the dark. Through meditation and reflection, we learn not to rush past what we've unearthed, but to hold it gently, letting it root and reshape how we meet the world above. Join me. Welcome. You are listening to Our Mindful Nature, a podcast helping healers and those searching for healing respond to anxiety, overwhelm, or depression with nature-inspired meditations for better mental health. I'm your host and meditation teacher, Meryl Arnett. This podcast is recorded from my live Monday night meditation class. If you would like to access today's meditation practice or nature soundscape as a standalone audio file for your daily use, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. All right, y'all, grab a cup of tea, pop in your headphones, and find a comfy seat. Hello, friends. I am so glad to be with you here today. And here is underground, right? We have spent the last 2 weeks underground together as we embark on this Underland meditation series. Together, we've learned how to linger in the Underland, the place where we've stored hurts, big and small, cultural and individual, likely with the hope that we won't have to face it again. And like all good meditators, I hope, we have come to the realization that what was once buried will always be unearthed again, whether consciously or not. And that we're better off learning the dark terrain of our own underlands so that we could be more wakeful to the ways that we respond to the world around us. In part 1 of this series, we learned how to settle in and linger in the Underland, to acknowledge what has been buried without running away, without ignoring. And in part 2, we began to notice the gifts of this shadowed place. We discovered that by softening ourselves, our breath, our bodies, that value is yielded from the deepest of caverns. We stop resisting, we stop fearing or hiding from, and we soften instead. Value is yielded. But there's one last opportunity here in the Underland that I don't want to rush by. I want to take a moment to talk about deep underground. Deep consciousness is also a place where we might store or shelter what is precious to us. For us as individuals, we have the opportunity to store what is most precious, most valuable from our practice. For millennia, humans have buried their most beloved with jewels and treasures to carry them through the underworld. Treasure itself has been buried deep in caves, protective amulets buried at the corner of houses to protect its occupants. And for us, in our meditation practice, there is also this buried treasure, if you want to stay with that metaphor, that we might unearth. And then we need a place to store and remember it. One of my teachers often refers to this as the message of the heart. And, dear friends, don't roll your eyes too hard. This is why we journal. I know. Every time I bring up journaling, I get at least one huff, shrug, eye roll, disappointment. I get it. It's not always that we have that much time, but I promise you, you don't need more than 2 to 5 minutes, and it is so worth remembering the wisdom from your practice. When we sit in that silent, still place, we listen, we soften and understand. And remember, understand, it means to pass beneath, right? We're underland. And then we open our eyes, we grab a sketchbook, and we jot down the message from the heart. What did you see, think, remember, feel, or daydream during your practice? Even if you think it was nonsensical at first. You don't have to write incomplete sentences. You don't have to share it with anyone. This is your innermost wisdom. And we want to shelter it. We want to create a space for it where it can be seen, saved, and remembered. After all, what would be the point of doing all of this meditation practice if all we do is just jump up afterwards and forget everything we've just remembered? I want to share a story before we get to the meditation today. And this story was sort of unfolding as I was brainstorming this Underland series. If you've been listening for any length of time, I hope you have realized by this point I am a huge advocate for therapy. I highly recommend working with a therapist. And I, too, have done much work sitting on my therapist's couch over the years. She is an EMDR therapist, which often involves revisiting an old story. And I was doing just this not too long ago with an old story that has continued to replay in my life for far too many years. And as I unearthed this story with her, I realized how closely I was following the steps that we've outlined here in this Underland series. The first thing I did was to descend down into something hurtful that I had long since buried. I was discovering and grieving this old story that no longer lived in the forefront, right? It wasn't conscious for me that this was replaying. But as I went down, as I lingered in that Underland, I really started to see how this story continued to shape my interactions with the world. And with the support of a therapist, I was able to mine value from that old hurt, to discover what was there for me to learn and grow from. And at the end of this process, there was this newly uncovered piece of me, a piece to shelter as it makes me more whole, more embodied, and also maybe a little bit more vulnerable as it's a new unearthed piece, right? It hasn't been in the light for very long. As meditators, as wakeful participants in the world, this is the work. To face what has been buried, to soften in its presence long enough that we glean the gifts or the value hidden there, and then shelter that wisdom so that we might be more whole and inspire more wholeness or healing in the world. We cannot be afraid of what is dark, hidden, or unconscious. We must be willing to go deep underland in order to fully understand ourselves and the world around us. So I want us to practice here one more time with the Underland. We'll do about a 10-minute meditation, and then please, please, please take 2, 3, 5 minutes to journal afterwards. Go ahead right now, take some time to grab a notebook and a pen and get yourself comfortable. As you feel ready, let's find a comfortable seat together. You can sit or lie down and grab all the support you might need. Letting your arms rest on your lap or by your sides. Inviting your spine to feel elongated, shoulders back and down. And then you'll decide if you'd like to close your eyes or just take a soft gaze down towards the ground. And together as a group here, let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out a sigh. And we'll just do that once more, inhaling deeply. Exhaling out a sigh. And allowing your breath just to flow. And with these easy breaths, you'll just silently say to yourself, now is my time to meditate. Now is my time to meditate. And as you say those words to yourself, I invite you to settle a little bit more fully here. Let go of everything that has already happened today. Let go of all those things that you need to do later. And see if you can feel yourself land a little heavier on the chair, the cushion, or the earth. See if you can invite your awareness to sink a little deeper into your own Underland. Over the next few breaths, you might invite your body to soften a little bit, releasing any gripping or resistance, particularly through the face. Softening along your jaws, your shoulders, feeling the muscles through the chest relax a bit. Feeling the muscles through the belly let go a little bit. And with every layer that you are able to soften, see if you can invite your awareness just to linger and listen a little more closely. Breath flows in and flows out easily. And we simply observe what unfolds for us, the message of the heart today. Whether as it shows up as a worry, a memory, a phrase or image, even a daydream. Allow yourself to breathe and listen just a few minutes in silence here. Noticing exactly what's running through your mind or your heart right now. Catching the thought, the story. And then simply deepening your breath here. You might wiggle into your fingers and your toes, feeling those edges. Straightening up your spine a bit if you've slumped over. And together as a group here, we'll take a deep breath in. Exhale out a sigh. And take all the time you need to blink your eyes open and release your practice. I hope you'll take a moment here, whether you push pause or not, to grab your notebook or your journal and jot down what you remember from your practice. Jot down what you thought about or daydreamed about. Jot down what you saw or heard. And let this serve as the sheltering, the bearing of treasure that we don't want to lose or forget. Thank you guys so much for partaking in this Underland series with me. It was so much fun to share with you, and I hope that you gleaned as much value from it as I did. Thank you. As we close this series today, y'all, we are also ending a season together. Remember these 3 invitations from the Underland. First, be willing to face what's been buried. Second, to soften and listen for the quiet value that lives there. And third, to shelter what is precious, those small truths that make you more whole. We will be taking a short break from releasing new episodes as we dream and draft what is going to come next. I can't wait to journey with you again soon, and until then, I hope you will continue to practice, journal, and explore. Be well. Thanks for listening to Our Mindful Nature. If you would like to receive today's meditation practice and nature soundscape as standalone audio files for your daily practice, please subscribe to my newsletter at merylarnett.com. It's free, and you'll receive a new practice each week. Our Mindful Nature is recorded on Muskogee land and is produced with the support of Nick McMahon and Brianna Nielsen. Deep gratitude is offered to acoustic ecologists Nick McMahon and Gordon Hempton for the use of their nature field recordings in many of these episodes. We release a mini episode that's just the meditation, no chatter beforehand, every Monday. And every Thursday, we release a full episode with a meditation class or interview. I look forward to practicing with you again soon.